Alright, you guys, Barcelona 2, Osasuna 1. Barcelona did leave it late to secure all 3 points at El Sadar. This was certainly a game that I thought was heading to a draw, which would not have been bad, but I really wanted to win. But that is when the 81st minute came and everything flipped on its head, because Marcus Rashford steps on the pitch, gives one of the most intelligent passes of his entire Barcelona career, and guess who pops up? Right place, right time. It is Robert Lewandowski, the Barca legend, to secure that one goal that opened everything up, and from then henceforth it was chaos, and we have to talk about it. But first, if this is your first time coming across one of my videos, hi guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk football, LaLiga, the Prem, UCL, all of that stuff. And of course, I'm a culé. It's always going to be Vizca Barca for me on this channel. If this is something that you're interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. I would love to grow this channel with you. Yes, give me a subscribe, leave me a comment, like this video, do all of the things so that the engagement can engagement for me. Please and thank you. But first, we have to go back into this game and what we have just seen from Barcelona and Osasuna. Yes, I did tell Osasuna, because they certainly did play their part in making this quite an interesting game. Now, when we started this match, I was wondering where is the goals going to come from for me, because Barcelona were heading to El Sadar to play an Osasuna team that hit us 4-2 last season without Lamine Yamal and Rafinha. I was wondering where the goals were going to come from. I was wondering where the creativity was going to come from. Yes, we have seen Rooney Badaji deputize for Lamine Yamal, but we know that the quality that Rooney Badaji brings and the quality that Lamine Yamal brings is not the same. So I was a little bit worried. I thought, surely if we come away with a draw, not too bad. But I really did want to win. And the first half of the game, I did not think that we did enough to really trouble Osasuna, the Osasuna backline. If anything, I thought that Osasuna, despite not having good chunks of possession, I thought that they had the better chances of the first half. Certainly, Ante Bodima came up with 2 good opportunities where he could have had the ball in the back of the net and had to call out a save from Joan Garcia on those occasions. So it was a very nervy feeling, very chaotic. It was low block from all sides. I have to give credit also to the Barcelona defense, because whenever Osasuna intercepted the Barcelona balls, they were quick with their transition. They tried to hit Barcelona on the counter, and we had the likes of Pau Kubasi, having to really come up big and mash out that defensive backline for us, and I live for it. Now, I thought that sometimes we did not do a good job of getting ourselves out of trouble. Sometimes we put ourselves into trouble. But again, the defensive performance for Barcelona today was incredible. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Going forward, though, I do think that Osasuna, they were able to, basically set themselves very quietly and wait out our, passy, because Rooney Badaji is not the same profile of player as is Lamine Yamal. He doesn't carry the same level of threat, unfortunately. It's not to say that he's a bad player, in my opinion. No, I think that he's just a player that lets us understand. It's kind of like a litmus test for what Lamine Yamal is. Rooney Badaji is 2021, and he's playing at the level that he's supposed to be playing at. So that lets you to know that Lamine Yamal is a generational player. The fact that he's able to play at the level that he is playing at such a high level, carrying his level of threat week in, week out, while not still being at the finished level that he could be, it shows you what Lamine Yamal is not ordinary. Rooney Badaji, he's ordinary. He shows you that he's playing at the level that he can play at. He's 20. He has a long way to go. So, but he doesn't carry the same level of threat. And I hope that this few weeks that Lamine Yamal has been injured, people can really see why we Barca fans say Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world. It's not just hype. It's really that this player is way ahead of schedule. And today was another example. Rooney Badaji, he did not have any kind of threat on that right hand side for Barcelona. Unfortunately, I did not feel anything from him, and Osasuna did not feel anything from him. They were certainly able to just sit in their low block, intercept the ball, and his decision making for me was just not up to par. In Barcelona's entire attack, I felt like it was only Fermin Lopez that carried any kind of threat going forward. He had 2 shots on target in that first half, and those were the only 2 shots that registered for Barcelona in the entire first half, and it all came from him. He was trying to do a little bit too much on his own, but because there was just no kind of threat coming from Lewandowski, because again, he caught an isolated figure up front, and of course Rooney Badaji is, it just meant that Osasuna were able to take out all their, attention on Fermin Lopez and kind of nullify him a little bit. In the second half, though, I do think that Barcelona did up their intensity, and I want to say I love what they did there. There were some changes that had to be made. We were looking to win this match. We had to certainly make changes. We did see Ferran Torres come in. We did see Marcus Rashford come in, and I liked the introduction of Frenkie de Jong, because Frenkie de Jong is a profile of player that many people do not appreciate in our team, but he brings that leadership quality as well as that midfield calming and defensive midfield prowess that we desperately need in Barcelona, and I live for it. And I think that that's where things started to change for Barcelona when we took out Gavi, when we took out Dani Olmo and Rooney Badaji, and brought on Ferran Torres, Marcus Rashford, and Frenkie de Jong. I think that that's where things started to change. We started to see a different level of threat from Barcelona. Marcus Rashford, he's very good going forward. I've talked about him this season a lot. I do like him as a player, but he also is a player that frustrates me at times, in that his decision making most of the time is something that kind of lets him down. Like, he takes the ball, he's going all the way to the byline. I've said it on this channel many times that I want Marcus Rashford to have made a decision of what he wants to do when he gets to the byline before he gets to the byline. This is something that kind of lets him down and makes, when the defenders gets to him, they always end up getting the ball from him, or he always ends up making a wayward pass. So this is something I wanted him to improve. Immediately coming into this match, I felt like he wanted to make a quick introduction of himself. He certainly had a shot that almost, well, I want to say almost, but not really, but really kind of like let the Osasuna defense know that the regime has changed. Not Rooney Badaji that they were dealing with a more experienced professional. He had that. It did go over the top of the bar, yes, but I felt like that's a good way to test the defense and let them know that, it's not going to be comfortable as much as it has been up until this point. And I felt that we had a little bit more going forward. And then the goal comes in the 81st minute. Now, up until this point, I thought that this was a game that was destined to go to a draw, which, even though it wasn't ideal for me, I want to secure the La Liga title before El Clasico. I also wasn't watching this game with any level of pressure whatsoever, because again, at the start of this match, Barcelona were already 11 points ahead. If we had drawn this match, we would be, 9 points, 10 points ahead of them. So that is assuming if they win Espanyol tomorrow. So I wasn't really watching it with any level of pressure. But however, like Hansi Flick has told us many times, we want to win La Liga and we want to win it soon. So this game, even though it looked like a draw to me and I was okay with it, I also did want a win. And so when in the 81st minute, Marcus Rashford pops up with the ball, I was at the edge of my seat wondering what he was going to do. And this is where I have to give him credit, because for all the times I've criticized him for his decision making, I love that as he picked that ball, he took his time to scan the pitch. And not just scan the pitch or make it the easy pass would have been to the player beside him or the one right to him. He scanned the pitch and he found Robert Lewandowski with one defender. And Robert Lewandowski was giving signals as to where he wanted the ball placed. And at a point, I thought he wasn't going to be able to do it, but he pulled out top draw crossing, and it was beautiful because Robert Lewandowski was then able to shake his defender, and the defender did not even know what hit him until it did. And that's one of the things that I loved about this assist, because it was so left field from everything that has been happening up until that point. It pops up with a very good header. It's 1-0 to Barcelona, and much of the credit for this goal goes to Marcus Rashford and his decision making in that moment. So kudos to you, because this is something I've always said you needed to improve on. And not soon after that, of course, we know that Osasuna are in contention for European positions. Like, if you're wondering why Osasuna were playing a low block today against Barcelona, as opposed to how electric they were when we went to visit them last season at El Sadar, it's because Osasuna, they can make Europe next season. They are just 2 points away from European places. If they had held for a draw, they would have been 1 point away from European places. The La Liga table this season is really complicated in the way that things are set up. It's giving it a lot of anything could happen. Actually, it's going to go down to the last day of the league before we know the places that are confirmed in terms of who has made it to Europe. Of course, we know that Barcelona is going to be in the Champions League, Real Madrid is going to be in the Champions League, Villarreal is going to be in the Champions League, but the rest of the other things, it's still up for grabs right now between between Celta Vigo and Osasuna in 10th position. They are Celta Vigo is on 6th position in the Conference League positions, and Osasuna is in 10th position right now, and between them there are just 2 points separating those teams. All of them are in contention for that position. So I very well understood Osasuna the way that they set up today, with a low block, not wanting to risk it, wanting to play safe and conservative, because they do have something to lose this time around. And so it makes so much sense for me. And honestly, they almost pulled it off. They almost had their 1 point and could go on and fight elsewhere. But once that Lewandowski goal went in at the 81st minute, it meant that they had to come out and chase it. Because like I said, the La Liga table is intense, if not just in the top half of the table, but also when you look at the bottom half of the table as well. We're still not sure about who is going to be relegated, right? We do know Real Oviedo is very much they're relegated, but between Sevilla and Rayo Vallecano in 11th position, Rayo Vallecano is in 11th, Sevilla is in 18th position right now, currently in the drop zone. There's not that many points separating them. So with the remaining games left, Sevilla could very well move up. We could see teams drop if they lose some games. And granted, not everybody has played yet. So like the La Liga table this season is intense. So everybody is really fighting to not lose something. So like I said, I understood the way Osasuna chose to approach this game, but immediately that goal went in, they just had to come and chase it. And when they did, Barcelona did what they do best, which is to put you to the sword. Barcelona recovered the ball in the middle of the pitch through Fermin Lopez. And if you've watched my video reviews, I love Fermin Lopez. He's one of my best players in this squad. I live for him. He recovers the ball in the middle of the park, threads an inch perfect pass to Ferran Torres, and at this point, Ferran Torres has a love-hate relationship with the goal. I was not expecting him to pop up with that kind of finish that he did today. He just put the ball between the legs of the goalkeeper, and I was like, this is the shark, the one in whom I'm well pleased. I was so pleased because, again, 2-0 very quickly from a game that was almost destined to be 0-0. Barcelona, within the space of 6 minutes, almost killed the game. Now, this is where I have to harp on the defense a little bit now. After we scored those goals, 2 minutes later, Osasuna would end up, scoring one, getting one goal back themselves. And it all comes down to us losing our composure, losing our focus, because we thought that we had it secured. It's like, it puts us in this an unnecessarily nervy position. We shouldn't have lost our focus like that. It's a very, very good cross from the Osasuna player. Raul Garcia just has a very, very wide, unchecked header, put it well past Juan Garcia. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit gutted for Juan Garcia because I wanted him to have his clean sheet today. That was not going to happen. That goal did mean that we ended up finishing this game today with a little bit more nerves than we would have liked. It was a very, very nervy finish. Osasuna, they did believe. They have done a couple of remontadas in La Liga for the past couple of weekends now. They've come back a few times. So their fans certainly believe that this was another game where they could pull out another remontada situation. It was not going to be the case today. Barcelona did finish the game 2-1. It's a minor lead, but it's a lead that secures all the 3 points. And now it's advantage Barcelona. Real Madrid now have to go up against Espanyol tomorrow and win. They have to beat Espanyol, because if they don't win Espanyol tomorrow, Barcelona are champions of La Liga, and they will have to give Barcelona the guard of honor, which they didn't want to at the Supercopa. They now have to do it if they don't win tomorrow. So we will be watching that game very closely to see if we're crowned champions. Of course, if they don't win, if they end up winning tomorrow, all we just have to do is beat them at El Clasico, or even draw against them at El Clasico, and we will be champions. Like, we have a very, very firm grip on that La Liga title. Right now, we're 15 points ahead of them. So I think it can't go wrong. It really cannot go wrong. So I think for myself, the man of the match, who would be my most assignable? There were a lot of people that did well. Well, Fermin Lopez is up there for me. Rashford with the assist, Lewandowski with the goal that broke the deadlock, Pedri with, the work that he continues to do in midfield, and in fact, Frankie de Jong just coming in to change, the complexity of everything. So I think that everybody, it was very well a team performance. There was not one player that just stood up against the rest, but this is what Hansi Flick was talking about. Like, for you to be champion, you don't just have to have the best players, you have to have the best team. And today was a clear example of the best team coming together to, deliver a result. So that has been it for me. I'm so excited for this game. As always, let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section. Who stood out to you, and what did you think about this game between Barcelona and Osasuna? And what did you think about my review? Do you like it? Let me know in the comment section. And if you've watched up until this point, of course, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section, and hit the like. I would love to grow this channel. But until next time, as always, is Barça.